So the goal is to go to a different screen if one of these items is tapped, and therefore we should add a different screen. In the screens folder, I'll create a second file which I'll name meals.dart, because the goal with this screen is to show all the meals for a selected category. Now inside of meals.dart, we of course must create a new class, and I'll name it meals screen because it will be a widget that acts as a screen. And this will also extend stateless widget because there also won't be any state that would need to be managed in this screen later on. So meals screen like this it is. And of course we add build and we add our constructor function as we always do, forwarding that key. And for this screen, I will also need some input because I will need a list of all the meals that should be displayed for a given category. And for that, as a first step, we of course need meals because otherwise it will be hard to display them. So therefore back here in dummy data.dart, I want to add some dummy meal data, and for that in turn, I first of all want to add a new model in that models folder. I'll add a new file called meal.dart in which I want to define the structure for a single meal. So in there I'll add a new meal class, and since this would be a rather long class, you find my meal.dart file attached, and you should simply replace your meal.dart file in the models folder with the attached one, or simply replace the content. And if you did that, you will see that my meal.dart file contains this meal class, which actually has quite a long list of properties that are all set through named parameters. For example, for every meal we store a title, an image URL, the ingredients, which is a list of strings, and the steps, so basically the instructions on how to make that meal, which is also a list of strings, the duration, which is a number, and then also complexity and affordability, which are enums with some predefined choices or some predefined options, to put it like this. In addition, I also have some flags here that basically tell us whether a certain meal is gluten-free, lactose-free, vegan, or vegetarian. So that's how a meal will be defined in this app. And with that model added, we'll also update the dummy data.dart file. And you can simply use the one which you find attached and replace your dummy data.dart file with the attached one. And then again, make sure that your project name matches here in the import statements. And then you'll see that we still have all these categories here, but then also this list of dummy meals, where I use this newly added meal model to create a bunch of dummy meals, all with ingredients, instructions, and some links to images, though of course definitely feel free to set up your own meals here in addition. So with those meals added to the dummy data.dart file, we can go to the meals.dart file, and in there we now want to output that list of meals. Now since this widget here will act as a screen widget, we also first of all should return a scaffold widget, so that we can, for example, set the app bar, which is exactly what I'll do here, so that I can set the title. And the title here should actually be set to the category that was selected. Therefore, in this meals screen, we should accept that title as input data. And I also want to accept my meals as input data. And that should be a list of meals using that meal model that we defined in the models folder. Hence, this import path here must be added. And of course, these two input values now also should be set when this widget is created. So here I will require a title to be provided, and I'll require the meals to be provided. And back down here in the build method, we can now set the title, well, as a title in the app bar, and set the body to this list in the end. So to a widget that outputs this list of meals. And that is of course also something you could try on your own. Try outputting this list of meals here, maybe in a way that offers good performance, even if we had a long list of meals. And also make sure to show some fallback text in case no meals should be available. So if we selected a category that has no meals, for example. Definitely try this on your own. Thereafter, we'll implement this together.